This is the future.
What's up, YouTube and Facebook, and welcome back to Not Quite Mint. We are doing our comic book review show today, where we're actually doing a bit of a spotlight on Batman for a change, just because he's awesome for a start. We're also going to talk about a couple of new comics that came out this week, but there haven't been that much, so it's a bit of a light week for new comics, but we're going to be talking about what we have actually been reading. We'll also be talking about our giveaway as well. So, yeah, should we get into it, Rich?
Yeah, let's get into it. Lots to talk about, as Tom said, but probably not so much about like the new stuff that's been going on this week. But we're touching on little bits. But yeah, make sure if you are new to the channel, guys, that you do hit the subscribe button. Do give the thumbs up, and if you don't want to miss out on when we're going live and when we've got videos coming out and stuff, make sure you hit the little bell icon. Have you got the bell, Tom?
I don't. I've put it away. Hold on, bear with.
So hit the little dingy bell, and we will be able to. You won't miss anything that we're bringing up. As Tom said, we've got quite a lot to talk about. So we're going to get straight into it. We've got a little bit of a mail call update as well, so we'll let you know what we've had through the post.
I've finally had something.
The mailman finally found you, good man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
really good mates with our postman.
Yeah. Well, it has a pretty good, to be fair, around here as well. They look after us, right? So, as people will well know, this week did not see the release of any books from DC or Marvel. So that was why we kind of have this Batman focus a little bit later on. It's allowed me and Tom to sort of get back into some of the stuff that's maybe like passed us by. So we'll be talking through that in a minute. But I think it's fair to say that this week's big book is this one, Negan Lives. There's quite a lot of surprise and hype around this one. I believe Kirkman decided to release this probably only like a couple of weeks ago, and it was basically, it's all to aim to raise money, isn't it, for sort of like coronavirus and stuff?
I believe it's the basically there's so many about, and then there's so many silver ones, and then each store gets 2 gold ones. So whatever money they make, it's to help during the pandemic period. The premise behind it is brilliant. Like, the idea is to help out everybody. I think that's a great idea. Unfortunately, personally, I had no interest in reading this one because although I'm a Walking Dead fan of the TV show lost me, which made me then not want to read the book either. So I missed out, and I didn't actually pick this one up. But you did, didn't you, Rich? What did you think?
Yeah, I've got it here. I mean, as you were saying, the whole thing with the hype with this was the fact that there are different versions of this bit that you can sort of see. Now, I've got the standard
splatters as well. If I
I don't know if we'll pick those up, but yeah, can you see them? Yeah, you can sort of
just about.
There's a little blood spatters on there. Effectively, what happened was that Kirkman said, right, I'm releasing the standard cover, and I'm going to do 2 variants, which is basically the writing is silver on one and gold on another. And as Tom's said, the silvers it was either 2 or 3, depends on how many of these they ordered for the silvers, and then I think the gold was rarer again. And most shops only got like 1 or 2 of the gold ones. Now, I've seen the gold ones, they're selling for well over £100 at the moment. And I've seen them go for as high as like £200. The silver ones, again, between £50 and £100, which is a hell of a lot of money. Now, if they're raising money, I don't quite see how it's obviously to get money into the comic shops, isn't it? You know,
definitely.
Selling those at a premium, and the money comes into the comic shops, and, you know, it's obviously helping out the businesses and stuff. I have, and I don't know if you've seen this, Tom, but there is another one, and Kirkman only announced this within the last couple of days. There is a scarlet red foil as well.
Oh, I did see that there was a third variant, but I didn't see what it was or what it was about because it was kind of hidden. Oh, that's cool.
So I don't know how rare that is, but from what I've seen, it's rarer than the gold one. So
Wow. Okay.
I've seen loads of people putting pictures out on social media where they've got this one, the silver one, and the gold one next to each other, and they're like, acting like they're ballers. Well, I bet they felt like they were kicked in the nuts when they heard that this red foil was coming out. Because God knows, I haven't seen one on eBay yet. To be fair, I haven't looked, but I've only seen a couple of photos of this scarlet one. So apparently, some people were picking them up the shelves in Forbidden Planets and places like that as well. So,
Okay, cool.
Mixed amongst these standard red ones, I don't really know. But anyway, story-wise, as I said, I think when we were talking on Tuesday, I explained obviously that I've got a collection of like a lot of the single issues of Walking Dead, and it's like patchy, so I've filled the gaps with a lot of the trades that I've got behind me there. Much like you, Tom, I haven't watched the TV show for quite a while. I think I'm 2 seasons behind the regular one. I think I'm about a season behind Fear the Walking Dead. I lost faith in that the whole Negan bit.
So did I, mate. I got bored. I actually got bored, and after I think they killed off the tiger, Ezekiel's tiger. That was the last episode that I can remember. It might not be the last one I watched, but that was the last one I remembered. I remember thinking, I'm fed up of Negan doing this every 5 minutes.
Yeah, grabbing his balls.
It was getting on my nerves.
And I don't know. So anyway, I picked this up. It literally, the book took me about 5 minutes to read. It's the usual classic, everything's proper, Charlie Adlard, obviously with the artwork and everything like that. It's in the classic sort of, black and white sort of thing. But the story, I mean, you can see there's very little dialogue in there. It took 5 minutes for me to read the book, and at no point did it really grab me. I've never been a big fan of Negan. Negan's obviously not a particularly likable character or anything like that, but it's one of those, as a bit of a Walking Dead fan, I'm not going to not pick this up. But yeah, I have a feeling that it might be setting up some kind of, whether it's going to be a mini series following Negan or whatever. I'm not too sure as well whether there's an idea behind that, because it does leave it on not a cliffhanger really, but a kind of a what happens next kind of thing. And yeah, it's okay. It's Negan's his usual weird, creepy self to start off with. Then there's like a bit of classic kind of Walking Dead trope, effectively, like where there's a bit of a trap, but then zombies turn up and ruin everything, and then the people, Negan ends up kind of being on top, kind of thing. But Negan Lives, that's the title of the book, and yes, indeed, he does. So, anybody.
It always makes me think: is there, like, within Walking Dead, did he die or something, or like was it suspected that he died? I don't know.
My understanding is from. And I don't think I've read the actual physical issue, but from what before I read this, I did a little bit of a Negan look up on the internet. I think he was left where basically he was like left with a horde, a bit like with Glenn. Do you remember that episode, the end of the series with Glenn?
The trash can
fell underneath the dumpster, and you thought he was dead, and he wasn't.
Small.
Yeah. It was a bit like that's how I think Negan kind of ended in the comic books. I think, by all means, correct me if I'm wrong. And he was kind of like, again, left open. You never saw him dead. You never saw him as a zombie. I don't think. I think it was like, oh well, he's done now. But yeah, it's one of those. Again, if you're a Walking Dead fan, I don't think you can pass this up. Again, it's supporting your local comic book shop as well. So go in and buy it. And if you want to stump up the cash to be fair, I would have bought the silver one if I would have seen it on the shelf for, like what it's worth, which is about 50, 60 quid. I would have probably bought it. But I've got other things that I want to buy as well. So it's like, I'm just like, because I didn't see it, I'm not going to go and chase it down. And certainly after reading it, I'm not going to really bother now. So yeah, that's my view of Negan. Certainly wouldn't nominate it for a pick of the week though, Tom.
Okay, that's cool. Well, I don't think we've got any pick of weeks this week. It's more
Yeah,
like we have been.
and that's why I'm vetoing that one. The only other things worthy of note, guys, is if you can get down to a comic book shop, I think they are starting to feed in the books from the free comic book day. So I did pick up Firepower, which was one of the ones that we mentioned as a potential key. The one that we've got up in the picture just there, that's the Prelude. Now you can buy that, and that is the run up to this series. This is going to be an ongoing series. This is, as I say, issue 1, and it's aimed at that kind of like Miles Morales generation. That's what I would say. Sort of. I didn't really enjoy this a great deal. I wouldn't carry on reading it. But it's quite cool. It's based around somebody who's like got special fighting powers, sort of like, so you've got the whole kung fu type of thing, but it's not like a Mortal Kombat thing. It's more homely than that. He's got friends, he's got a family, but he's obviously got this like innate ability to effectively shoot fireballs from his hands when he summons a special power. So it is quite cool. It is written by Robert Kirkman. It's nowhere near as brutal as Walking Dead from what I've seen so far, but bearing in mind the success of other spin-offs, other comic book runs such as Invincible and so on and so forth.
It then got dark. I mean, this could go down that same route, couldn't it? Start off really quite light and then end up so dark, you're like, wow, where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, it's classified as a teen read, but we obviously read Invincible, didn't we? Like not that long ago, and what did I say about? I didn't really like the first couple of issues of that, but as soon as I got past issue sort of 4 or 5, I wanted to know more.
It gets so good after like issue 10. It's Invincible is probably one of the better Kirkman runs, but then I haven't read all of Walking Dead, and I know that's one of his critically acclaimed ones.
Yeah. Walking Dead's a fantastic comic book story. I think the problem is if you excuse me, if you've watched a TV show, there's a massive divergence between a lot of the themes. Like locations are the same, and they kind of things happen in the same kind of order, but characters and storylines are quite different. So, but that might be an actual breath of fresh air for somebody like yourself who got disenchanted with the I definitely recommend you read them 100%. If obviously not like while we've got a pandemic going on, but at some point. And the only other one that I wanted to make mention of is that this free pickup for Marvel Universe, which basically introduces the Empire event. Pick this up. I've had a quick flick through. It gives you a couple of example panels from the 40-odd tie-in books that are going to be part of this Empire event. Like literally, honestly, it's bonkers.
Everything's tied in, is it? Pretty much everything's tied in. Yeah,
that's the checklist. But what I will say is that the sort of like the one shots that are tying into it, it's not like, which I was really disappointed about. We're not getting like a Donny Cates Thor or like tie-in. The writing team's completely different for the Thor one shot. So
okay.
So do bear that in mind if you're thinking of putting it on your pull list. So yeah, just hazard a bit of caution. The one thing that we do know that's happening in this event, obviously, is
it's in the back of that. Nice.
But one thing that's happening in this event is that I believe we're going to see the spin-off of Immortal She-Hulk come as a result of this. So I think Civil War 2 issue 4 is the first potential appearance of the Immortal She-Hulk. So if you've got that the values of that have started spiking for issue 4 season Civil War 2 issue 4. So if you've got that, don't go selling it too cheaply because it's doubled in price in the last week. Yeah, that's what people are saying. Obviously, we know that Immortal Hulk is ending at issue 50, and Immortal She-Hulk's going to carry on beyond that in the future. So just bear that in mind a little bit. And I believe, looking at this, you do see there's She-Hulks all over the place. So I think there might be some kind of significance with this. And also, obviously, this is a cosmic event. So it's all to do with like Celestials and the Avengers, and X-Men are in it as well. It's going to be. I think there's going to be a lot of cool stuff happening in this. But yeah, just bear it in mind. The other thing to point out is obviously the advert on the back that you may have quickly seen. This has caused a bit of a stir because Null is coming. It says 2020 there because these were printed pre-lockdown. Null is coming 2021 now, just so you know. He's booked it. He had to delay his flights and everything, until 2020.
He's coming from a very long way.
So yeah, lots going on there, guys. So even though it was a down week, there was still like some really positive news coming out from. Was it Marvel? Yes, it was. Oh well. But that was. We've still got some stuff to look forward to. So we can start talking about Batman again, mate.
Oh yeah, let's hit our spotlight.
As if we didn't talk about Batman enough on Tuesday. If you haven't seen the video, guys, go back and check our Keys of the Week video.
Episode 3.
Our big sort of Batman spotlight, where we absolutely just gave Batman a lot of love. But in absence of reading DC and Marvel this week, we've filled it up with revisiting some of our favourite Batman books, haven't we?
Yeah, it's a bit of a re-education, if you like.
So I'll start with. There we go. Shall I start with the one that we probably both like the most, or do you want me to save that till the end?
Yeah, I can't remember which one that one is.
The one that you bought for me as
save that one to the end. Yeah,
leave that one to the end. Okay, cool. So do you want to do? We'll talk about the one that we briefly spoke about on Tuesday. Then, so this was The Dark Knight Returns.
Yep. This is your favourite one, isn't it? It's one of your favourite.
It's one of the ones I selected as one of my keys. Yeah, but we did speak quite a bit of length about this on Tuesday. So as I say, I'm not going to go into it. But I read this obviously many years ago. It's absolutely brilliant. Very sort of like makes you think, not just like it's not a mindless read. You know what I mean? There's like a lot of political aspects to it and stuff. So make sure you do go back and read that. It's obviously a classic Frank Miller sort of story. Obviously art and stuff like he's Frank Miller. So if you like Sin City and you haven't read this and you're looking for just a sort of standalone jumping in point for Batman, go and have a look at this. It's very dated in a way, like very 80s orientated. It's a bit like watching when you watch RoboCop, the original RoboCop. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's got that kind of feel to it.
It's totally a type thing, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Go and check it out. But like I say, we spoke at some length, didn't we, about it on Tuesday already? So
yeah,
I don't really want to go on. So shall we do? We'll do the one that you were disappointed about.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Talk about this one. So this is Batman Damned.
Yeah, written by Brian Alrezzi.
Azzarello, yeah.
Azzarello, yeah, that's the Badger. And artist by Lee Bremley. I'm not very good with these names. Just done by Brian and Lee, basically. So Rich said he'd got it, he bought it, and I was like, okay, we'll read this one. So I actually didn't pick it up when it first came out. It's only a 3-parter, and it's a Black Label one. And I thought, I might enjoy this because I've enjoyed some of the Black Label stuff. I will be honest, I didn't like it. I just couldn't get into it. I liked the artwork, but I just couldn't get into the story. I did like one thing about it though. I liked that there was no panel artwork, text panels, because they were all kind of around the artwork, and it kind of looked cool. However, there was a few bits from a person who struggles a little bit with reading where the white text was on a white background, and I did miss certain words, and I had to then reread it, which was frustrating. But as a concept, I thought it was really cool. The story itself, I felt was a little bit disjointed. I didn't get it, and I did find myself being a bit like, yeah, where's the end of this now? I want to get to the end just so I know what happened. to the Joker.
Yeah, I mean, it is very much it's totally out of continuity, isn't it?
Yes, completely out of continuity.
There's an element of rewriting Batman's past. It's a bit of a what if, isn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of like, you know, things that the way that like Thomas Wayne's portrayed is
not very nice, actually, to be fair.
And it's not necessarily that we could say that it's different from the books. It's more that you see a side of Thomas Wayne that could have happened, but has not necessarily been seen before. It's very, very grown up. It's obviously a DC Black Label. There was a lot of controversy, I think, when the first issue came out, or the second issue, or whichever issue it was, that like where you saw Bruce Wayne's penis, basically. You don't see it in this one.
First release of it.
But the world famous Batwang was removed from this one. Yeah, there was a lot of controversy around that, and I know it's still quite sought after, isn't it? The first prints of Damned are really quite, you know, sort of popular, aren't they? They're going to. I think they're about.
To see the Batwang, mate.
Yeah. I think they're about £50 for the set. So, you know, obviously I picked up the hardcover. For me, I like the concept of it. I like the artwork's stunning. I'll show you some of the inside bits in a minute. But the artwork was stunning. The concept was really, really good. I loved the characters who came into it, because you see a lot of like Justice League Dark characters. So Ron Constantine's in there, Zatanna's in there, Swamp Thing's in there, Deadman's in there.
Yeah.
So really, really cool from that. The way that it's drawn is just amazing, and you get a real sense of like, you know, immersion in that thing, and it's very, very creepy and dark, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? As I say, it's very like grown up. Now, like, because John Constantine, effectively, the way that this is written is that there's, as Tom says, there's a lot of. Let's put it up. I'll do the first bit. So, if that's the first sort of page. And there's a lot of this, like where the white writing is. Effectively, that is John Constantine's voice acting as the narrator for the story. So sometimes there's action shots and art shots that are where things are taking place and nothing's being said by the characters, but John Constantine's doing the narration. So there's a lot of flashbacks to when Bruce was a child, and you see this other side of Thomas Wayne, that is all narrated with very little dialogue again. And yeah, it explores like some really dark aspects of that you probably, you know, I don't believe have been brought up, but it's very you know, sort of standalone story, very Elseworldsy, but yeah, it is very, very good. I mean, there's a look at some of the Swamp Thing art.
Yeah, it's crazy. The artwork in it is insane.
You know, it's amazing. But like I say, you get a lot of artwork like that.
That bit there that you're showing is one of the bits that got me, and then I was a bit bugged about, because the scene before this is him and Harley, and it's like at no point do they explain how he goes from being on a rooftop with Harley, strangling them to death, to being in a coffin. Like, how did that happen? Where did that happen?
Exactly. So, and that was my kind of view, was that there were certain aspects that, because it is standalone and completely out of continuity, things happened, and I was like left thinking, hold on, is there another explanation for why this has happened? Have I missed something? Should I have read like an accompanying story to find out how this happens? But like you said, there's effectively a fight scene with Batman and Harley Quinn on that page, and you go from that there to the end of the book to And this to effectively, well, the start of the next book, because they all start with this kind of monologue from Constantine, to this one where Batman's in a coffin, and like Tom said, it did not make sense. Why is he in that coffin? Who put him there? And all the rest of it. So it was a bit surreal, a bit abstract. It was unsettling to read. Whether it was aimed at to do that, I don't know, but I just felt that up until the end of that second book, The Fight with Harley, I was really like enjoying it, and then that last third, that last book, I was a bit, what's just happened?
I think it was rushed, if I'm honest. That's how I would describe it. Is the first two books are okay. I mean, I did enjoy it from start to finish. I definitely didn't enjoy it. But reading the first two, they kind of made sense because you were waiting to find out what Batman was, how he, essentially what's going on with the Joker. Did he do it? Did he not do it? Is Joker actually dead? All that. Those things questions you're asking. And then the end of the second book, he's then in a coffin, and it's like, well, that wasn't explained. And then the whole final issue, there's a bit where he's in a burning building. There's this whole flashback thing with the Enchantress. And it's kind of like, I really don't know what's going on anymore. Like, you've asked all these questions that I'd like to have answered, but you're answering them like,
yeah,
and then you're not answering some of the other fundamentals that have happened.
Yeah, that don't make much sense.
I'd say.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's one of those. I can definitely see why after the first issue, everybody went nuts for this, because it is really cool, and the artwork and the style of it and everything. And I think it was one of the first DC Black labels that came out and things like that. So I totally understand the hype and everything, but I think in its entirety, it's like, yeah, it misses a beat towards the end, definitely. Yeah. But but still have a look.
Yeah, definitely.
As I say, it's one of those. It's not gonna knock, some of the. Well, there's loads, like so many. I don't know, like Black Mirror, Zero Year, The Killing Joke. There's so many other Batman. Obviously Dark Knight Returns and stuff like that. It for me isn't up there with those.
This is nowhere near on par with The Killing Joke, and I actually didn't really enjoy that much. But it is a good comic, The Killing Joke.
Definitely. Cool. So let's move on to. So we're saving that one to last. So we'll do this one. So this is tying into something that's current, which is we have been looking at Dark Knight's Metal, haven't we?
We have. We had a little bit of discussion before the video. I had to make a confession to Rich that I had to read the 2 one-shots, which are the build-up to this, which is I think it's Dark Knight's Metal, The Forge, and then there's one after that, which actually lays down the groundwork for Metal. And I have to be honest, if you haven't read the 2 one-shots leading into Metal, it's very hard to grasp what's going on. It's very well written. I mean, Greg Capullo and Scott Schneider are doing a incredible job in Metal. But the first issue, if you just read the first issue, doesn't actually make much sense.
Yeah.
And then as you go on through the 6-parters, it gets better and better, and it builds, and it gets much better. And you obviously get some incredible characters that come out of Metal, especially because the Batman Who Laughs makes his debut in these books. Not actually in Metal, he makes his debut in Teen Titans issue 12, but he is in this book, and it is a great story. But like I said, if you haven't read the first 2 one-shots, it's very confusing. Because you've got Carter Hall, who is Hawkman, is missing. His journal is, what you're reading, essentially. You're reading his journal in the background, and Batman's trying to link all these metals together to find out what's going on in this alternate dimension. But if you haven't read the first 2 little books, you don't understand why. And it's to do with the fact that Batman was shot, or like had a piece of this metal hit him, and he had visions of a dark area or a dark place where he was like, oh, I need to know a little bit more about this. What are these metals? Where are these metals from? Then he ends up, doing all these things that the Justice League don't agree with. He has Joker trapped in a basement There's a bit with where you find out that Batwing has actually he's born with the abilities that sync around the metal themselves, the ninth metal. Batman makes some deals with Wonder Woman to take an 8th metal but swap it then for a 9th metal. Those sort of things happen in the 2 one-shots, and if you don't know that, when you then read issue 1 of Metal, you're kind of like, what? Why is Batman being a bit of an arse? You just don't get it. But what did you think anyway, Rich? I mean, I loved this as a series. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I've only read. I mean, if I sort of show you, obviously with this book, because it starts with, and I don't know if you'll remember. So it starts with that bit, which kind of tries to like do a bit of a lead.
Marvel world, yeah.
Yeah, and then it goes, I think, into is that Apocalypse? Is it?
No, it's not.
No, Darkseid. Oh no, sorry, it's not. Is it? They mention his bloody name. So this, I really do not know what the hell was going on at the start of it, and that was.
They've been trapped on Mongol world. It's like a gladiator world. In Mongols, basically the sort of like the guy in Gladiator who does that with his thumb.
Yeah, he's the emperor type.
Yeah, that's it. The emperor. That's who Mongol's character is, and he owns this world. Sorry, and that's where he's got them on, and they've all got this metal on to stop them from being able to use their abilities. And then Batman figures it out that if you push the button that's inside, they then transform together and turn into like some kind of Megazord type thing. It's pretty cool, but not knowing how they got to that point is a bit frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at sort of like artwork in this and stuff, and I was a bit. I think I was hoping to see the connection, like the immediate connection to obviously the Dark Knight's death metal, obviously that we read the other week, and I didn't feel that connection. Do you know what I mean? I was hoping that, and I'm sure it will fill in more gaps as we go through. And as I think you said, obviously it's going to be. It does get better, but
I definitely suggest go back and read the Dark Knight Forge and the Dark Knight. I think it's the casting it's called, but they're both written by Scott Snyder and James Tynion, and because of the way they've written it together, it makes more sense.
Okay, cool. Well, I mean, I think I'll have to do that. I will still read it, but I might go back and read those first off. But it was, it's all right. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for Dark Knight's death metal. Like I read that, and again, not knowing all the tie-ins and the characters, I was a little bit but then I came away, and I think I said last week, it actually kind of like grew on me as a story, and I am excited to read the.
I think death metal is better.
Yeah, cool.
And it's only had one issue.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm looking forward to reading more of that, basically. But I was one of those one. It was one of those ones where it didn't initially grab me. So I don't know what the hype was at the time when it first came out either. It would be, I don't know if it was big hype or not.
I think it had, but I can't. To be honest, mate, I didn't read it until it came out as a trade. Yeah. So I missed all the hype on Metal.
So watch this space really, and I'll let you know if it does get better. I think that's the best thing to do, because I'll probably finish reading that in the next week, and then obviously next week we're going to have hopefully more decent new comics coming out. Quite excited actually. I looked through the keys, and they are rather exciting. So we'll talk about this one, which is kind of a bit of a personal favourite, both of ours, isn't it? And
it's a favourite of mine, that is for sure. So we're going to be talking about Batman: The White Knight. It's an 8-part series that when you put together as a full story, is one of the best, in my opinion. And I'm sure there's people that will disagree with me. in my opinion, is one of the best Batman story arcs I have read for a very long time. I like the premise behind it. I like the story behind it. I like how it develops. I like how it unfolds. Yeah, it is such a good story. Yeah, what did you think, Rich? I mean, I don't want to spoil the story too much from like wibbling. What did you think?
I mean, I basically, you had told me about this, hadn't you? Like, you were like, "Oh, have you read White Knight?" And I was like, "No, I've not read White Knight." So you bought it me for, I think, a birthday present, hadn't you? So it was sort of like one of those things where I was like, "Oh, right, I'm going to read it." I actually read this when I was on my honeymoon. So last April, I was on my honeymoon in New York, and I read this as my sort of like, while we were waiting, I don't know, in an airport lounge, and when we were waiting to get picked up by like the taxi to take us back to the airport at the end of the trip. This was the book that I read, and it was great. I loved it. I don't know whether it helped being in New York as well, with that kind of like, the hubbub and everything around you. But yeah, I totally agree with Tom. It's one of the best written sort of mini series that I've read. Fantastic. Like it probably is. It probably is one of my favorite Batman books. Definitely like top 2 or 3, 100%.
I'd agree. I think Sean Murphy, who is the writer and the artist on this one, has done a fantastic job of taking, because obviously it's not continuity, it's got nothing to do with the normal Batman universe, but what he's done is taken Batman's universe and just gone like that with it.
Yeah.
Completely flipped it on its head and changed everything. And I love the way that this starts off with Batman being the good guy, and then within the first issue, you're rooting for the Joker. I think that is an incredible thing to do, to flip it like that, where you're like, actually, Batman's an ass. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's that whole thing, isn't it? I think like when it's clever, because I think if you're going to have a critique of, and we kind of touched it a little bit on Tuesday when we were talking about Batman stories, it's this whole kind of like mightier than thou, or type of attitude. We all know that deep down he's a billionaire playboy, do you know what I mean? But at night he goes out and beats up criminals, doesn't kill anybody, which just still, to me, it doesn't make sense, but obviously it kind of does make sense at the same time, because it's that sense of morality that he actually doesn't,
line, isn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't lower himself to the level of the people that he's going after. And the Joker, he's like the complete opposite of Batman, isn't it? And it's that whole thing that they almost have like a push and pull against each other. And this story definitely touches on that. Like they are like symbiotic in a way, aren't they? That one exists without the other. And that's what I think this book really does like touch on really, really well.
Sorry, go on.
No. So it's that what will happen to Batman if the Joker isn't quite the Joker that you think he is.
Yeah, I think that's such a great story that Sean Murphy's created in this, is the fact that, without spoiling it too much, because I obviously want everyone that's watching this video, you should definitely go out and read this. But without spoiling it, Joker basically proves that Batman needs the Joker. Regardless of whether he's the Joker or not, he needs him to be able to be Batman, and he just proves that point. And I think that is absolutely incredible writing on so many levels. Because I was in this book, hook, line, and sinker from the start, and I got told the plot from a friend of mine who basically said, pick up this book. It's about Batman and the Joker. The Joker essentially becomes cured, and then that's it. That's all he gave me. I was like, okay, that sounds really interesting. I'll pick it up and read it. I picked it up. I've read it twice within the first couple of weeks of having it. I then recommended it to everybody I knew, and I've probably read it twice since you've had it.
Yeah. It is one of those ones. I mean, like, if you flip through it, obviously the artwork's fantastic, but it's a very nicely laid out book. There is quite a lot of like dialogue in there, but like, it's split up really well with the way that they've worked. Like obviously the sort of like the full splashes in there and all that kind of stuff. And they're all recognisable characters that like Killer Croc's in there, isn't he? And Harley Quinn and all that kind of stuff. It's
yeah, actually, that's one of my favourite bits of the whole story is the Harley Quinn bit, because, well, I'm not obviously, I want you to go out and read it, but the Harley Quinn situation that happens and the Neo Joker is an incredible story, because it's kind of like, I don't, I could go into it and just spoil it for everyone, so I'm not. But the Harley Quinn bit is amazing. Definitely read it just for that.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's not a very big picture, but there you go. That's kind of like the type of. There you go. So you've got like Penguin, Killer
Croc's in it,
in there, and
they're all in it.
Neo Joker and everything. It's just it is quality, isn't it? It's as I say, that's the trouble. I think like a lot of people have. Like, I mean, we're effectively the 3 books that we're talking about here. They are all out of continuity, aren't they? So we've got Damned, Metal. Well, Metal kind of loosely touches continuity, doesn't it? Like Dark Knight Returns is out of continuity, and so is this. But I think this is probably the best all-encompassing story that's probably relevant today, and I would think would be more timeless than certain things, because I think that's the only criticism I'd have with Frank Miller's, is that although we do live in a weird world at the moment with Donald Trump at the helm of the American people, obviously, but you've also got in there, you've got that kind of like glamorized, almost like President Reagan Soviet Union versus the like America type of thing, and as I say, whereas with this, it's just timeless. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be more. It's certainly more of a classic, I think.
This one will be on a lot of people's shelves for quite a few years to come. I've not actually read the follow-on to this. I've got them, but I'm waiting for it to come out in trade, and I want to read it as a like back to back, rather than read single issues.
Yeah, I think
that's been really good as well.
Yeah, I've had that on my pull list, but not read any of it on purpose. And I want to say that the last issue, I don't think I've missed it in lockdown. I don't think it's quite finished, or has it finished?
I don't think the issue has come out.
Yeah, so I'm like, well, I don't know. I really am a bit lost with that one, but I know. I think the last issue is due to come out like still. So, well, yeah, very much recommend this, guys. So, 100%.
I was going to recommend any other trade paperback over Planet Hulk, because Planet Hulk is my favorite written book ever.
Yeah.
Would be this one. If you're a Batman fan, I would definitely go for this one over anything else. I really would, because it's just really good. I think it's better than Hush, and Hush is one of my favorite Batman ones too.
I like it. So, what shall we talk about now then, Tom? Shall we talk a little bit about stuff that we've had in?
Oh, we can show our mail. I've actually had some stuff.
Good. But yeah, do you want me to start? Shall I start?
Yeah, go for it, mate.
So, basically, I think my 2 main purchases, or say 2 main purchases, two of the things I'm going to show are basically like gifts that I had from my brother and my mum and dad. But basically, this first one is Shadows of the Empire, Star Wars. It is issue 1. This is not in very great condition, but there weren't very many on eBay. Like, some of them were like ridiculous money, whereas I picked this one up for, I think, in total it was like £4 with shipping type of thing. It's not in great condition, but I do want to have a flick through it and have a read of it and not feel guilty about it. So I'm not that bothered. But basically, it's all to do with the first appearance of this character here, who is rumoured to be basically in one of these upcoming, Disney Plus series, and I can't remember his name. I think it's something like JDax or something like that. But I'll have it a look up when Tom's talking. But yeah, I will have a read of this, and I'm going to collect. I think there's either 6 or 12 issues in the Shadows of the Empire, and a couple of the other ones have got key issues in there as well. But yeah, it's there's a lot of specking going on with Star Wars at the moment, with the fact that they're announcing so many like Disney Plus shows and things like that. So yeah, that's why I've got that. Your turn, Tom. Go on.
Nice. So I got my I get my comics monthly because my comic shop unfortunately is quite far away from me, so I get them every month when I can, and I finally got my month's stuff. So I'm going to show you some of the stuff that probably came out quite a while back, and we've probably already shown these. But I managed to get the Joker the 80th anniversary edition, and I've got the Gabriele Dell'Otto version, which I think is absolutely stunning, and I love it.
Cool.
So I'm going to read that. I'm looking forward to that one. And I also picked up the Dark Knights Metal 1 in 100. So I'm extremely pleased with that. Hell,
Cover. Very, very cool cover.
You're up, Rich. I've got two others.
Yeah. So just to say, yeah. So it's the first cover appearance of Dash Rendar, who, as I say, is that rather peculiar-looking chap up at the top, and he's rumoured to be in the second season of The Mandalorian. So he's worth looking out for. But there's another first appearance. Now, those of you who've watched the film Solo will have seen like that whole thing with Darth Maul, and he was like the head of the Black Sun crime syndicate and all that kind of stuff. That what was her name? Kira, who was what's her face out of Game of Thrones, like her character was part of. So yeah, Emilia Clarke's character, she was obviously part of the Black Sun crime syndicate. So, but yeah, that comic has the first appearance of Prince Ixor as well. So it's that's why that's been specking reasonably high. But a lot of people also talk. I need to pick up Shadows of the Empire issue 2 because that's his like first full appearance. So I need to keep an eye open for that one as well. Yeah, so you might like this one, Tom.
Go for it.
But I did. This again was a bit of a spec purchase, and it was because it's I think it's pretty much a near mint copy, and it wasn't very expensive. I think it's like £12, which was quite a good price. But it's Alpha Flight #1.
Oh yeah, nice, very nice.
So I picked this up basically because there's again there was a lot of rumours going on sort of like last week. And I think that basically this Kevin Feige, who's obviously MCU head honcho, had basically hinted that he's wanting to bring Alpha Flight into the MCU. And yeah, I mean, it's a cracking cover. I actually, when it arrived, I bought it, and I hadn't really had a great deal looking at it. But it's is it Vindicator is the main person, so he's the guy with the
experience in Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah, and then you've got like Mr. Fantastic, you've got Johnny Storm, Sue Storm, you've got Thor, Daredevil, Captain America, and then some of the other characters I don't know. You have got Spidey.
P on its chest is called Puck.
Yeah, Puck. Well, I think this one
at the back, and yeah. I can't remember the name of the two. I think it's North Star and South Star. Are the two people at the top in the black and the white. Yeah. And then, if I might be wrong, but I think the girl at the back is called Songbird. But I could be wrong on that one.
I think it is Songbird, but yeah, well, I know there's a couple of first appearances in this one, and I think it is the first appearance of Puck. Yeah. As well, obviously the guy down at the bottom, isn't it? So yeah, is that right? Yeah. But it's obviously they're a Canadian superhero group, aren't they, to rival the X-Men? So
well, the story is that they were originally before the X-Men, and Wolverine was actually a part of their group first because he's a Canadian citizen, and that's where he got his name, the Wolverine, from. But it was obviously his first appearances in a Hulk comic, and then his second appearance / when he actually becomes an X-Man is when they first announced him as the Wolverine. I mean, they never called him Wolverine up until Giant Size X-Men 1, which is interesting.
Yeah, but they, as I say, I just picked it up because it was quite a cheap spec, and it is a really, really nice cover. As I say, I think I bought it as a very fine plus. But when it arrived, I was just like, yeah, I'm happy with that condition.
Yeah,
100%. So, but yeah, so that was that. I did also this is something that me and you will probably be talking about in future videos, maybe next week. The new previews came out. As I say, it's still sealed. I haven't gone through it yet, but a bit of light reading at the weekend, and I'll probably be sending a million text messages to you, Tom. Have you seen this? We've got to buy this. This is dead good. Like getting way excited about it.
There's a book in there that is ideal for your wife. It's called Ink Blot. She'll love it.
Is that the one with the cat or
the cat? Yeah.
Yeah. You did send me the image of that, didn't you? And I did show Holly. So
a key as well. I think it comes out. I want to say September, the second week in September.
Yeah, if I do buy that and you end up you might have to read it for me, because I have a feeling it might be a bit too lovely for me.
Get Holly to read it and then get her to review it, and then you can just read her review out.
I'll read it out, because there's no way she will ever do anything on camera. Definitely. Cool. Have you got anything to mention?
Yes, so I've got two others that I want to share.
You do that, and then I'll finish off with them.
I've started collecting Batman. I've decided to pick up the Batman comics because I've really enjoyed the James Tynion run. But I've decided to go for the 1 in 25 covers because they're stunning. So I got the Punchline one last week or the week before, and my lovely local comic shop in Banbury managed to save this one for me this week. So I'm really chuffed with this. And it's a key itself, because in the actual book, it's the full reveal of who the designer is. If you want to know who the designer is, get the comic book or go back to our last week's review video, episode 2, and actually find out what we thought of the reveal of who it was. And then I always have to have one of these whenever they come out. I've been waiting for this for quite a while, because I pre-ordered it pre-lockdown by about 6 months. But yeah, Catwoman, J. Scott Campbell. Yeah.
This one took you by surprise, didn't it? You'd totally forgotten it.
I forgot I'd bought it, and I've been looking at his website, like, oh look, there's Catwoman. I didn't realise he did a Catwoman cover, and then mine just randomly turns up in the post.
Fair play, but yeah, it's a cool cover, isn't it? So it's one of those. But he just keeps on banging out these really good covers, doesn't he? Because I think the last J. Scott Campbell cover I bought was for Strange Academy, I think.
Yes, that's the one I've got.
Yeah, and that's.
I want to say I've got Spider-Woman as well, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, but like Strange Academy, it's one of those like sort of everybody's saying it's going to be a bit like a Young Avengers type of thing. So again, a little bit of a spec tip. There's so many first appearances in that. Go and if you can pick up Strange Academy issue 1, have a go. Lots and lots of covers. Oh, and what's this, Tom? Is this?
I forgot I'd got on the side. It's issue 11 of Black Cat, which actually is the first appearance of her in a Iron Man outfit.
Yeah, that's it. So they don't know what they're going to call it. They don't know whether she's the Iron Cat or the Iron Black Cat or Black Cat Iron. But it's kind of a first appearance, isn't it? So yeah, I'd started collecting the Black Cat comics, and then I think I missed a couple of issues, and then I've ended up selling that current like run. I think there were about 9 comics, but you know, it was one of those ones where I think I was like, I couldn't be bothered to go and get the issues that I'd missed, and I hadn't read it, so I was just like, oh, I'll just sell it. And
I'll be honest, the Black Cat series as a readable comic isn't very good. The story isn't very good. It didn't grip me, but I'm a mug, and I'll buy anything with J. Scott Campbell's artwork on it.
I don't blame you. I think that issue you just showed, issue 11, is probably the first one that's kind of a key issue as well, like where there's anything new happened. So I think that was my other thing. I do like J. Scott Campbell's art, but I was just like, I haven't read this story. I haven't heard great things about the story. And other than the cover art, why am I keeping it? You know what I mean? It was sort of so yeah, I offloaded that, but yeah, one of those, isn't it? But hopefully that one will be a good issue. Anyway, I did allude to the fact that I had these boxes. I don't know if anybody's ever seen these. There's been a couple of these, like, now I have already opened this, so I know what's in there, but this is just to give you guys a bit of an idea. So these Hit Parade graded comic boxes are basically, it was my brother's birthday in May, and obviously my family know that I collect comics and all the rest of it. But my brother, it's like a bit of an annual tradition that he has like a sports card delivery, because the other thing me and my brother, well, I collect is, along with my brother, is sports cards. So he put a sports card order in and saw these graded comic ones. So he said, I'll get one of these for Rich. And then my mum and dad got me one as well. So this one was bought by my brother. And just to give you an idea, now these things, I think they normally make 100 boxes. Yeah. So each series has 100 boxes. So they number them sequentially. It's made by a company called Dave and Adams in America. 36 of 100. And basically you have with these a 1 in 10 box chance of like a grand prize. And the grand prize is the top one in this was like a Daredevil #1, and I think it was about an 8.5, so it was like a $3,000 comic.
Mm-hmm.
And the lower prizes, they're like signed editions. Like I think like there was one like there was a Frank Miller signed edition. I think they had like a Stanley signed one as well, and they're like worth, you know, a couple of £100 type of thing. I sadly didn't get one of them, but each box does contain a CGC slab. So this was the one I got. It's John Romita artwork, John Romita Jr. artwork, and Al Williamson. It's an Ann Nachetti story, and there's a Bullet and Kingpin entrance in there. The book itself's probably only worth about 40 or 50 quid, but it is a 9/8, and it's, you know, it's a cool Bronze Age book.
Yeah, very nice.
You know, it's nice. It's decent covering, as say John Romita as well. So I was happy with that. You know, I don't buy these things expecting, like some people do, to get a home run every single time. But I was happy with that. The other one that I got, this was. Pardon?
You say that one was off John?
That one was off my brother. Yeah, John is. And then the other one, so you can see numbered again. This is Justice League. And again, 1 in 10 chance of getting some big, like, relevant hit. And I think this one, I think it had like a really early edition Superman or something like that. So it was really worthwhile getting. And then the one that I got here was this one again, another 9/8. And it's Action Comics. It's got an appearance of the Teen Titans in a nice ensemble kind of cover.
Oh, yeah.
Nice artwork again. I think it might be George Perez. I think. Oh no, Gil Kane. So classic artist again. And this one, it's a Justice League, new Teen Titans, and a Brainiac appearance is the notes on there. And yeah, it's from 1983. Action Comics 546. So I was pretty chuffed with that. In fairness, yeah, I don't think you can knock it really.
Very nice one, Mum and Dad.
Yeah, so nice one again. But you know, if anybody's ever got any curiosity as to what happens with those, I mean, you're not always going to get home run. As I say, you've got a 1 in 10 chance of getting something that's really amazing, and the rest of the stuff, it's like, you know, you're not necessarily going to get your money back, but with these mystery boxes, you rarely do. But every box does have a hit kind of thing. So. That's it. The only other thing that I want to mention, and it affects both me and Tom, is we did have, we spoke about it last week, and we will be releasing a video, but we did do a CGC order, and this is the very, very packing slip. So there's 25 books of mine and Tom's gone off to CGC to be graded. We've recorded a video that we'll probably release sometime next week, where we go through those books and the potential grades. because I don't think they're going to come back as well. They won't come back as high as we dream of, but hopefully we get something. It's our first time of doing it, so we've had them cleaned and pressed, and it is worthwhile obviously checking that video out when we drop it. Possibly have another mystery box to open next week as well, from a company called Retro Comics, and probably this weekend I will upload a video of mine and Tom's last mystery box, which was from Crazy Collectibles. I was going to upload it last weekend, but we'd had the garden done, so we were planting many plants, and I was mowing lawns and all that kind of stuff, so I was a bit too busy, but I'll probably upload it this weekend, so keep your eyes open for that, guys. Lots of content coming.
Nice.
And that's it really. So unless, Tom, do you want to talk about the giveaway maybe?
Yes. So just to remind everyone, we have got the NQM crate giveaway on the go at the moment, and we will be drawing it shortly, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So the idea is in the comments below, not in the live comments, but in the actual comments below in the video on YouTube, you need to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then you just need to type in #NQM crate giveaway, and you get yourself into the draw to be able to win 10 comic books that we randomly selected 8 of them. 7 of them. You get a sketch cover by me. You get this lovely art by Martina, which is the Unkillables issue 1. And you get our February comic pick, which is Detective Comics issue 3, which is a homage to Alfred. And then Rich has got my sketch cover as well to show you.
And then that's that one there.
And then you get 7 other random comics that we pick randomly, which you can see on our Coffee and Contemplation episode 2, if you want to see what they actually are. But yeah, so yeah, if you want to be involved in that, so you can get to win my sketch cover, our pick of the week from our pick of the month from February, our cover pick for the month from February, and 7 other random comics, then yeah, why not get involved? So it's #NQM crate in the comments below, but you have to make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Boom. Bosh.
And with that, we're going to say we'll keep your eyes peeled for the video over the weekend. We'll be back next Tuesday with our keys of the week next week, and then we'll be doing this the same time next week with our review show. So with that, guys, I'm going to just say, obviously, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.
I'm going to say stay safe and look after each other. Make sure you subscribe to all our other social media outlets, and see you.